Hello viewers, welcome back to Daily Fun TV. Today, we will talk about the story of JetBlue Flight 292, which was a remarkable emergency landing. Let's start. Introduction. On the sunny afternoon of September 21, 2005, JetBlue Flight 292, an Airbus A320, was preparing for what should have been a routine cross-country flight from Bob Hope Airport in Burbank, California, to John F. Kennedy International Airport in New York City. Little did the 140 passengers and 6 crew members on board know that their journey would soon become one of the most watched and talked about aviation incidents in history. Pre-flight preparations. The day began like any other for the passengers and crew of Flight 292. The aircraft was scheduled for a 3:17 p.m. departure from Burbank with an estimated arrival time of 11 p.m. in New York. Among the passengers were families, business travelers, and tourists, all expecting a safe and uneventful flight. The crew, led by Captain Scott Burke and First Officer John Stockstill, had no reason to suspect that this flight would be anything other than routine. The takeoff. At 3:17 p.m., Flight 292 lifted off the runway in Burbank, ascending into the Southern California skies. The first part of the journey proceeded as expected, with the flight cruising at its assigned altitude. The discovery of a landing gear issue. However, approximately 15 minutes into the flight, the pilots received an indication of a landing gear issue. The cockpit alert system indicated that the aircraft's front landing gear was experiencing a problem. Specifically, the landing gear appeared to be stuck in a position where the wheels were turned 90 degrees from their normal landing orientation. Instead of facing forward, the landing gear wheels were now perpendicular to the aircraft's direction. Captain Burke and First Officer Stockstill quickly assessed the situation and realized that they needed to return to the airport. They contacted air traffic control to inform them of the issue and request permission to return to Burbank. The decision to return was based on the fact that the Airbus A320 was not certified for landing with the front landing gear in such a position. Emergency response and coordination. The crew and air traffic controllers immediately initiated emergency procedures. Passengers were informed of the situation, and the flight attendants prepared them for a possible emergency landing. JetBlue's leadership and emergency response teams were alerted, and preparations were made for the aircraft's return. One of the unique aspects of this incident was that it unfolded in real time on live television. News networks across the country began broadcasting the event, with cameras trained on the aircraft as it circled over Southern California, burning off excess fuel to reduce the risk of a catastrophic fire upon landing. The live coverage allowed viewers around the world to witness the drama as it unfolded. Pilots' composure and professionalism. Throughout the ordeal, the professionalism and composure of Captain Burke and First Officer Stockstill were evident. They communicated calmly with air traffic controllers, providing updates on the situation and their intentions. The crew members underwent rigorous training for such scenarios, and their training was clearly paying off in this critical moment. Meanwhile, aviation experts and engineers were consulted to assess the situation. They analyzed the available data and determined that the landing gear issue was likely due to a malfunction in the nose gear's hydraulic system. Testing the landing gear. The crew, with guidance from aviation experts on the ground, began a series of maneuvers to test the landing gear. These maneuvers involved gently banking the aircraft from side to side, hoping that the centrifugal force would help the landing gear drop into place. The live television broadcasts captured these tense moments, with viewers watching as the aircraft tilted precariously in an attempt to dislodge the stuck landing gear. Air traffic control's role. Air traffic controllers played a crucial role in assisting Flight 292. They worked closely with the flight crew, providing them with real-time information and guidance as they attempted to troubleshoot the landing gear problem. The controllers also coordinated with other airports in the region in case an alternative landing site was needed. The emergency landing plan. While the crew continued their efforts to resolve the landing gear issue, preparations were underway for the emergency landing at Los Angeles International Airport, LAX. LAX was chosen as the landing site because of its long runways and extensive emergency response capabilities. It was essential to minimize the risk associated with landing a commercial aircraft with a known landing gear problem. The flight had been burning off fuel to reduce the risk of a fire upon landing. The Sparks flying landing. As the aircraft approached LAX, the tension among those watching and waiting was palpable. The entire world seemed to hold its breath as Flight 292 came in for its emergency landing. The landing gear, still stuck in a sideways position, caused sparks to fly as the wheels made contact with the runway. The sparks created a visually stunning yet harrowing sight, with flames trailing behind the aircraft as it came to a stop. Despite the sparks and dramatic appearance, the pilots had executed a remarkably smooth landing, keeping the aircraft under control throughout the descent and landing roll. Safe evacuation. As soon as the aircraft came to a stop on the runway, the crew initiated the evacuation procedures. Inflatable slides were deployed, and passengers quickly exited the aircraft, sliding down to the runway. Ground vehicles and emergency responders surrounded the aircraft, ready to assist passengers and crew members. Passengers were then transported to the terminal, where they received support, accommodations, and assistance with rebooking flights to their destinations. Miraculously, there were no injuries reported among the 140 passengers and 6 crew members. Lessons learned. The successful emergency landing of JetBlue Flight 292 was widely praised as an example of skilled piloting and effective coordination between the flight crew, air traffic controllers, and emergency responders. The incident also highlighted the importance of thorough training and adherence to safety procedures within the aviation industry. That's all for today. See you in the next video.